I'm Chris Snyder.
Messenger Mike.
We are Third Wheel Project.
You're listening to Northwest Sessions.
October snow, I met this girl who seemed to weather the storm. It started as friends. Over time she stepped on me to my heart, right down into my soul. On the first October snow, when the leaves are letting go, the river's falling low, cold icy roads take hold. Just you know, we can weather the storm. When the north wind blows, won't you come along and keep me warm, holding me closely, slowly into the morn. We could lay around all day, letting time just slip away. So long, darling, you are next to me. On the first October snow, when the leaves are letting go, the river's falling low, cold icy roads take hold. Just you know, we can weather the storm. Life is full of strange and mysterious things. What is it about you always makes me want to sing? As we go down this road, well, there's one thing that I know: I'll be with you on the first October snow. On the first October snow, when the leaves are letting go, the river's falling low, cold icy roads take hold. Just you know, that we can weather the storm. Just you know, can weather the storm.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Wilkins, and you're listening to Northwest Sessions on KZLX and KNWT Channel 8, and I'm here with Messenger, Mike Kimmel, and Chris Snyder. So can you guys tell me a little bit about where you're from? I heard, Chris, you're from Alaska, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Alaska 30 years since I was a little boy. And about 5 years ago, I came down to the lower 48, as we call it, to go on tour. And I fell in love with Stillwater, Minnesota. And it's at the headwaters of the Mississippi. So met this cat and a bunch of other great musicians that are now part of Third Wheel Project. Big family of musicians. And Mike and I go on tour sometimes because he's kind of funny.
You guys both met in Minnesota?
We did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. How's the weather up there? Pretty
It's
cold?
cold. It's cold now.
It's a little cold.
You're like, this is wonderful. This is warm.
Yeah, it's downright balmy.
Oh,
down here.
gosh.
Wonderful.
Yeah, this is a little too cold for me, but I'm glad you guys can bear it with us.
We don't mind it.
So we were talking a little bit earlier about kind of like you guys as a group, but it's not really just a band of you two. It's a band of a bunch of people, like about the Third Wheel Project. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so about 10 years ago, I was hanging out with a trumpet player, and I'm like, man, I feel like the Third Wheel. And he's like, me too. And I'm like, dude, let's start a band called Third Wheel. And pretty soon, a bunch of musicians started coming out. We started jamming. And I realized I didn't want to be the one singing. I didn't want it to be the Chris Snyder band. So I was like, well, what if we stack a band full of singer-songwriters and people that could play a bunch of different instruments and kind of see what happens. And it's evolved into, there's chapters across the country. And anytime one of us singer-songwriters goes on tour, where we land that there's a chapter, we have a host family, we have gear, we have a vehicle, we have a band if we need it. So the project can cater towards a reggae show or a hip hop show. Or in my case, I really like country and folk and reggae myself, but I don't know, or blues. Messenger is like the blues element, and he can get down on it. So
I have my moments.
It's a lot of fun because it's not playing the same song every time.
And you get pushed into new genres or into a more creative space when you're working with someone that's challenging you to do something that you're not doing on your own, or something that you haven't thought of. When you have to hustle and figure out a song or follow where someone's going, it's challenging, and I like that aspect.
Yep.
It's not the same set list or the same kind of thing that's predictable. It is unpredictable.
Yeah, we have this good friend back up in the cities. His name's Grant Walker, and he's the most rockin' voice I've ever heard. And so when he's leading us, it's like a totally different show than when it's me leading. But when it's with the Minnesota chapter, it's that same band, and it's all about building community. Last night we host an open mic every Tuesday at the Tilted Tiki in Stillwater on Main Street. And last night this fan brought her 16-year-old daughter out, and she got up and sang and like broke that ice with what it's like to get up in front of people and perform. I remember that.
Oh yes, absolutely.
My first
We all
solo,
had to
I
go
was
through
just
that.
like, I had to change my pants.
Oh gosh.
Anyway.
I guess you're kind of talking about chapters, and like I guess, sorry if this is kind of a weird question, something I don't really understand, because from what I was getting is that you kind of felt like the third wheel, so you wanted to create a band. So how did that become like a big chapter, like project type of thing?
So when I was younger, I traveled around the world with this group called Up With People. We did some really cool things. And one thing we always did in that group was leave the community better than we found it. We did a lot of community service projects and on top of our show. And when I got back from Europe, I was kind of like, man, what am I going to do with my life? And then my brother died, and he always sat around and listened to me play music. So basically at that point, I lost myself in my music and trying to, I guess, kind of find my brother in others, like characteristics that I might find. And songwriting has totally helped me deal with all those feelings. And it's just turned into this like big family and like a bunch of just really cool cats. Like tonight, Third Wheel has 2 shows right now back up in the Twin Cities, and then we're doing a show down here. So, but it's kind of set up to where it's like Third Wheel presents Joel Cachel.
Oh,
or Third
okay.
Wheel presents the Messenger Mike and his band of blues. Or whatever it is, But at any time, I can be like, hey, guys, we're playing this festival in Alaska. there's bringing 6 people up.
Sure.
Here it is, and that's the Third Wheel Project.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
I'm actually impressed at like how organized this is. If you want me to be completely honest, because it's like it just seems like one of those things. Like, okay, like guys, let's go. It's like super last minute, but you guys are like very chill. You know what you're doing. Like you're passionate about your music, and I really
Organized
respect
chaos.
that. Organized chaos. I guess that's the perfect way to put it.
It's taken a lot of practice. I've been doing it for like 10 years
Yeah.
as far as
Chris
Third
works
Wheel,
hard.
Third Wheel Project,
He
and
works hard on it.
and so does Mike, and so does the core of it. You know, we have a guy, Johnny Sticks, right now out in Colorado. He's part of I forget the name of the band. I wish I could plug it. Iridium, and they're a rock band. But he's my bass player, and he has been forever. And he just moved out of Colorado. We sent him out there with a vehicle, and one of the PAs that I've got a few of them, and sent him out there, and now he's like booking shows and establishing a chapter out there, which is really cool because he's one of those guys that's a part of it that's always been just my right hand man up in Alaska, so
Wow.
it's kind of fun. It's like a brother and sisterhood,
Oh, that's so nice. Touched right in my feels.
Oh,
I
Steelers.
So you were talking about how whenever you play, you go around and you try to find a way to give back. So you guys are here in Maryville, Missouri. So what are you guys doing?
Well, if we kind of got lost
You're
on
on
this
here,
road.
so thank God.
No, thanks for having us. So I have a good friend, the Calkins. Their family lost my friend back in high school. So Ryan was a son of theirs, and just a great dude. And he passed away a few years ago. So last year when we were touring through, they reached out to me and said, "Hey, you're only 40 miles and a roller coaster away from where we are." So it's like we pulled in, and Jeff hooked us up down at the pub with a gig, which is really awesome. We love playing there. And we got to spend some time with JR and Gene. And this second time back around, we actually wanted to go and play music at one of the Wisdom houses. We recoined an assisted living home a Wisdom house because there's a bunch of knowledge there and forgotten stories, and it sounds better.
Oh, I do like that. I didn't realize if that was like the actual name or not, but I like the way you think.
It just sounds.
It's more dignity in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
And so
respect.
we were going to try to play there at 4 today for an hour. This is something we do when we go into a town. We try to find one of those places and we go and donate an hour, and because it really helps with someone with dementia or Alzheimer's. They can't remember their daughter's name, but they can remember the words to a Johnny Cash song or to whatever song, old song we play, Blue Moon. And I don't know, it's just one of those things that actually makes a difference. And some of the other projects we've done, like I helped build a recording studio for the Boys and Girls Club up in Alaska, and taught them how to use it, and actually recorded a song with them. It's up online, and it's kind of cool. And really anything. Hold a door open for someone with a handful of groceries. But really,
It goes
person.
across the thing, but
it turns into that.
but we are actually playing tomorrow
at 10
at 10
at
a.m.
Oak Point.
Oak Point is the name of the Wisdom Home in which we'll be playing at tomorrow.
Oh,
So we're going to
okay.
do that tomorrow at 10 a.m. So
Oh, so you guys are staying the night in Maryville then, huh?
we
Yeah.
are, thanks to Mr. Jeff from the pub.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun. There's not a whole lot to do in Maryville, but the pub is the
Well, no,
place
we're
to
gonna be playing
so.
tonight there.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
I'm so sad that I can't go. I got a couple more weeks until I can legally go to the pub. So.
Okay.
That's okay. We'll see you next time.
Thank goodness. I'm so excited. You guys are getting me all worked up now. So, would you want to go ahead and play another song for us?
Sure.
We'd love to.
Get us hyped up for the pub.
There we are.
I think I'm gonna play a song I wrote about a month ago. This is a true story that happened to me down up in Alaska. I was brushing my teeth down by the creek, teaching a family music camp, about a mile away from everybody, up by my cabin, and this bear charged me. So this is exactly what happened. It's kind of a funny song, but.
Down by the creek, just brushing my teeth, minding my own beat. Hacking and a yakking, I was brushing my tongue, it had me doubled over my knee. I hear rumble and I know it was trouble, I quickly turned around. 30 yards out in the soapberry bushes, I see a bear running me down. So Mr. Bearman, won't you leave me alone? I ain't afraid to make my stand. He ain't slowing, so I get it going with my toothbrush in my hand. So Mr. Bearman, I'm about to let loose, I ain't afraid to make my stand. I run in this direction, kicking, screaming, and yelling with a toothbrush in my hand. Come on. Flip-flops, boxer shorts, hard stops, growly voice, only one thing left to do. Muster up the courage and charge at the brewing. Each hope takes them back to the wood. Toothpaste all down my face, forgot my can of bear mace. I must have looked a fool. I started charging and I seen the brewing trucking is just what you gotta do. Bearman, I'm leaving you alone. I ain't afraid to make my stand. He ain't slowing, so I get it going with my toothbrush in my hand. So Mr. Bearman, I'm about to let loose. I ain't afraid to make my stand. I run in this direction, kicking, screaming, and yelling with a toothbrush in my hand. Yeah, Bill, get on out of here. That's what happened.
So how did you really react in that moment, though? Because obviously, I don't think you were singing while it happened. So.
So just before that, I had written a song. I spread my brother's ashes up there. So I was actually taking a moment in the woods, spreading his ashes, and writing a song. And it was noon. I'm like, oh, I gotta get ready for this music camp. And I was just out there brushing my teeth and brushing my tongue. And I'd spent.
Get nice and clean.
I spent like 30 years in Alaska, and I've been around a lot of bear and never got charged. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure he thought I was a baby moose in distress. Because you know when you brush your tongue, and it's like, I don't know, I have a gag reflex like crazy. I'm just like, you know? And I was kind of bent over digging a hole because you don't want them to go licking toothpaste, supposedly. It's one of the rules. But anyway, yeah, I just almost died. And I didn't think at all. Like, I literally, like,
just instinct
charged
growled.
him in that. Oh no, I ran at him.
Oh my gosh.
I ran at him, kicking, just yelling, and in that growly voice, just. And then when it broke off to the left and ran off, that's when my heart hit and I started breathing again. And I was just like, I mean, I called my mom a week later when I had cell service, and I couldn't even tell the story without breaking up. Like, just I was like, dude, I almost died. Like. So I got really lucky.
Wow.
Yeah.
For a while, like I would be like scared like you, but then be like, yeah, like bear tried to attack me, I scared it away. It's not a big deal. Like.
Well, yeah. Now it's kind of funny and whatever.
At the time, it was terrifying.
Yeah. Immediately afterwards, it was terrifying because the
wow.
rest of the time I'm in McCarthy, Alaska. So you should Google that because I mean it's way out there, and if I had gotten mauled, I'd
no one would have known.
I'd have had to crawl back, you know, past a couple moose and past a couple more bear to the town, you know, and yeah.
I'll stay in the city. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I agree with him. Well, I'm happy you got to make it here today. That's super awesome. So I guess you said that as you were growing up, you kind of like played in a band and stuff, but how did you really get started? Like, when did you find that moment you're like, I really like want to get into music and this is what I want to do?
When I was 7 years old, Mom and Dad got me a keyboard, a little piano, and I started. I taught myself Top Gun Anthem. Yep.
That's the first thing you learned.
Yeah, and so like I mean that's actually when I started. becoming interested in it. But that was monumental. I think it was probably when my brother died. And actually, yeah, it was that, and then I got nominated for a bunch of Alaska Music Awards, and that actually made me feel good about my music.
Yeah, like what you were doing is actually worthwhile.
Yeah, like people liked it, and because I know I did, and my mom did, and she still does it.
Mom is the biggest fan.
Yeah,
always. Well, what about...
when my brother died, it was my drug. Just lost myself in music. Yeah.
Well, it's a good one to have, though. It's worse habits. Me, I watched. My uncle is a jazz musician and owned a club in Minneapolis called the Rainbow Gallery. And in the late 70s, I'd go down there and be a young kid and watch him play, and that was kind of it for me. And then I've pretty much kind of been chasing playing music the rest of my life, essentially. So I lived down in Mississippi for a while. I lived down in Clarksdale, Mississippi for a bit, and played down there and had the good fortune of meeting some really heavy blues cats out of there, T. Model Ford and Big Jack Johnson. And those guys taught me a lot, So, but yeah, once that bug gets you, it's kind of tough to shake it loose, Yeah, definitely.
So what instruments do you play then? Like, you kind of have that, like, jazzy blues background, but you also said that, like, I'm not sure if it's just with, like, you two or, like you said, with everyone else, but there's a variety of genres. So do you like to stick to your blues and jazz, or do you like to kind of go around
I've gone through bouts of saying, okay, I'm only going to play blues now, and be very serious in that regard. But, really, I was saying this earlier, I think that the challenge, and I think I'm happiest when I'm challenged, as opposed to, I know this song, it's in B flat and it goes like this, as opposed to knowing, or not knowing what somebody else is doing necessarily or could be doing, So, and it's nice to play different things and turn your ears onto something else, Sometimes we refer to it as let's change the station.
Let's change the station?
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I know.
True.
I heard a little bit earlier someone said, I think I'm ADD about instruments because I just want to play like a bunch of different ones. Who said that?
That's Mr. Snyder here.
He's just like, I want to play all of them.
Everyone.
Yeah.
What all do you play?
Well, I'll play anything.
Any instrument
at least once. But no, I mean, okay, what I would play would be like a piano. I love piano a lot. And I like banjo. I like ukulele. I'll play that. Hand drums, harmonica. I like singing.
Drums.
What else? Drums, yeah. Those are all what I would play out at a show. But if in a studio, I'll just say it doesn't matter.
Sit me in front of something and I'll do it.
Give me the mallets and the wooden, is it a marimba?
Marimba, yeah.
My buddy and I, we just built this recording studio up the street. It's called Wild Horse Studio. It's awesome. I mean, I'm super ADD in there. He has timpanis and...
You're like,
yeah.
It's like a kid in a candy store.
Yes.
Is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I piano was one of those things like that I've spent the longest on it, and I can kind of just close my eyes and do it. And, I don't know, it's kind of fun. I really am not good at the guitar because I have a broken wrist in my left hand, so it's really hard for me to... I'm a rhythm player, but on a piano, my solo hand is my right hand, which is fine. Right. So it's I enjoy pulling the piano out, even though it's heavy.
We'll be playing piano tonight.
Yeah, because I want to get down on some blues.
At the pub.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Wow. I'm just like, sorry. I fangirl a lot with this, so this is why I chose this job. It's awesome. So I'm kind of wondering, I was going to ask about maybe like the first show you guys had together, but I think a better question would be like, for each of you, kind of like individually, how did you feel when you played your first show like ever? Whether it be like when you were little playing or whether it was with like the band, like how did you feel? Like what was that moment like?
The first show?
Yeah, like your first show ever. Like the
Frightening,
first time you
terrifying.
ever set your foot
terrifying.
on stage.
Absolutely terrifying. inexperienced, so if you don't have any stage time in or, any real performance time in, it's terrifying. You can play at home or play in front of your friends, but when it's in front of people that you don't necessarily know or that aren't your family that kind of have to applaud a little bit, then it was very frightening, I thought.
And how old were you when, what was your first performance?
Probably about 14 years old, I think, playing with high school guys in a band. So, it was pretty frightening, and also I think there was, older people there that, like I said, that I didn't know, and, so I kind of wanted to make sure it went over well, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad, and I tell you, I sat down about passed out when I was done, but I was happy that I had gone through it and I did as well as I did. So, but yeah, terrifying at first.
How'd you feel after it? Was it just like a bit of a relief a little bit?
It was.
You're like, oh my gosh.
I got that out of the way kind of feeling, It's like, okay, well, I can do that again. I've done it once, so now I can do it again. And also you learn from every performance, I mean, that's the name of the game in life, I feel, is that if you repeat something, you make it better, so. But yeah.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. I would assume so. What about you?
The first show ever?
Yeah.
It was a choir concert. I had a solo for Here Comes the Sun. Oh my gosh.
How did that feel? Was it did you feel a lot better because you had your peers around you, or were you just I'm still terrified?
No, it felt horrible.
Oh,
I was
gosh.
so scared, and my voice was doing the whole puberty thing. Yeah. Oh man, I was just like.
How old were you when that happened?
I was 7th grade. So
7th grade.
I'd have been 16.
I was like, wait, what?
Kidding.
Well, I guess if you go through 7th grade 4 times,
11.
I
was like, I think I was 12.
But I was singing. I didn't pick up an instrument and play it in front of someone until I was older.
Wow. How did that feel? Did you kind of get over your stage fright a little bit, with choir?
I was in music theater in high school. I was, I wasn't too into sports. I was more into choir. I had 5 choir electives and music theater. I would just love doing that. So, but then I realized I really wished I would have played guitar. I was saying this when I was 21. So I finally picked up the guitar and kind of fiddled with it for a while. Yeah.
You got it now. No regrets, right?
Well, I got one in my hand. So I know how to use it.
I finally did it. Well, would you want to go ahead and play another song for us?
Sure. I'm going to do the one I wrote. This is a breakup song I wrote. This is on iTunes. It's called
These are the best.
Ringing in My Ears. And then we'll change the station. Never meant to say I'm sorry. Never meant to make you cry. In hindsight 2020, skies say open wide. How could you say you loved me if you think that I'm a jerk? Your words designed a pommel to leave me feeling hurt. So I smoke my cigarette and I drink myself a beer. Ever since I met you, I've had one every day this year. Not trying to blame you, I'm only trying to tell you your sweet voice is ringing in my ear. Should read the book. Please understand me, take a look. Extroverted lines me up on
first. Intuition, my second word, and feelings rooted, they take third. Perception is holding my final verse. So I'll smoke my cigarette and I'll drink myself a beer. Ever since I met you, I've had one every day this year. Not trying to blame you, I'm only trying to tell you your sweet voice is ringing in my ear. Your sweet voice is ringing in my ear.
Ooh,
That's on
twang's
iTunes.
really nice.
You have to go hear the rest of it on iTunes.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Well, you guys are still listening to Northwest Sessions on KZLX LP Maryville and KNWT Channel 8, and I'm here with Mike Kimmel and Chris Snyder, and they're doing great so far, so that's pretty cool.
Aw,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering, what has your favorite show been?
Mine?
I guess, like,
I've got like, 15, man.
I don't mean to be, like, I'm still a little confused, so, like, you guys aren't together all the time, right?
Right.
No.
Okay, so I guess I'll do this individually. I'm glad we cleared that up. So so I guess like we'll start with Chris. Like, what has your favorite show been?
That's a really difficult one. Like,
feel
for
like
me
so
personally,
Yeah.
like, well, that's still really difficult.
Yeah. That's a really hard question to answer.
Yeah.
One that really sticks out in your mind, I guess. Maybe not like favorite, but like one that was just kind of like memorable.
They're so awesome. Oh, well, me and a group of, I don't know, about 40 of us performed for the Pope on his birthday in the Vatican back in '98. So that's probably the most memorable. I'll never forget that.
Mm-hmm.
I play a lot of shows. Like, that's the only way I earn my money is playing music. And so the really great ones, it's always great. You know, especially when it's a group of cats like the Messenger here and what we got cooking up in the Twin Cities. Every show is great. Really is, especially when the energy's there, because, you know, you build a following and friends come and it turns into that synergy. So the next favorite show would be anytime I go to Alaska, I book a show up at the Hard Rock Cafe in Anchorage.
Ooh.
And my daughter performs with me. I have
Oh,
a
wow.
12-year-old girl, and she comes up and performs, and that is, I mean, that's like what it's all about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah,
that was kind of three answers.
Yeah, I know. It's a very hard question. I would have to say for myself, playing at the Juke Joint Festival in Clarksdale, Mississippi, was a great experience to be able to do that and meet people from around the world that came down there and listened to us and really appreciated the music. That was great. But there, like Chris was saying, is you know, we do this for a living, so you know, we sometimes will pack 9 or 10 shows in 1 week, so they kind of fly by. But you know, when you're with the right people, it does really seem to click, and those are the best shows. And I don't think they're that exclusive anymore for us, you know. So, but the early ones and the Juke Joint festivals and some of the blues shows, you know, for me were some of the highlights, I think, you know. But I love what we're doing now as well.
Did you guys ever kind of have a moment like, I'm sure maybe this happens with a lot of musicians, I'm not completely sure, but did you guys ever have a moment of like self-doubt, like, is this something I really want to do? You're just like, the passion drove everything and you were like, oh.
Well, financially it can be difficult, and that for a lot of people in the arts, that is of you know, monumental concern, because, you know, I mean, I can't sing songs to pay my mortgage, you know, regrettably, but you know, so it is about pay. But as far as the self-doubt, I would think that every musician or any artist would, you know, suffer some of that at times, you know, of thinking, oh, is this a good verse, or is this a good chord to put in a song, or should I cover this song? Am I doing it justice? Or, maybe I should do this instead of that. But as far as the questioning whether or not to play music, I don't think for me there is any question about it. I'll do it whether or not, I'm making money at it or not, So.
A long time ago, I asked myself the question, what really makes me happy? And it's always been just playing music. Just sitting down and playing music and being creative, and that's what makes me happy. And some older, wiser souls in my life have come to me. They don't even know each other, and the message has been that same message, which is like, man, follow what you're passionate about. Because if you can learn how to make a modest living about what you're passionate about, you're gonna live a much richer life than you would if you were just chasing money, And it's important to provide for what you create, like your kids, or if you start a business and you have employees, like it's important to prioritize that, But if you find what you love to do, that's probably harder than doing it. Is being able to be like, I'm passionate about this, So once you find it, then just do it. And yeah.
I think happiness comes first. And that's what my parents definitely told me. Like, when I chose my major, they were like, as long as you're happy, like, that's all we want in life. And I'm like, you guys rock. Best parents.
Those are good parents.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are awesome.
That's the truth.
So, kind of talking about, like, things you're passionate about and, like, your favorite things and good memories. What was something that, like, show-wise, not like an awful show, but something, like, very, like, embarrassing or, like, everything went wrong? Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah. Actually, we had a show out in Egan
Yes.
this year, and it's been on the books for a year. We had there was a sound guy. The public access was coming out to film it. It was going to be on the TPT or the T. It's a public, the PBS station out of the Twin Cities. And I was like, should I bring my PA and a sound guy? And I was told, nope, there's sounds taken care of. And we get out there. And my parents drove all the way up from Oklahoma. People came from out of state to see this, and it was, this guy didn't know what he shouldn't have been running sound. It was horrible. It was feeding back. It was just, I basically ended up having to kind of do his job, which I didn't mind doing, but that was, for me, that was just, because it wasn't my fault.
It put us in a tough position.
It put us in a tough position, and, I was looking forward to that for a year, and for it to go. It didn't really go wrong, other than it just took an hour for a sound
Not
check,
quite what
which
you
was
expected.
Exactly.
not at all. And I don't know.
But we kept an up attitude about it. We didn't, curse the kid out or anything. He's learning, so, I think that was probably a learning experience for him too.
I think in the beginning there was more of that, because like maybe even self-doubt, going back to that, would be, for me anyway, being up on stage and playing for 3 hours, and I'm just getting into doing this, and you might see two people talking and they don't seem to be listening or whatever, not clapping, and it's like, they might say something and you might be worried that, they don't like my music, and really you have no idea what they're thinking. They could be having a bad day, and you just power through it, and when you take a break, you go and say hi to people and just be genuine, buy them a beer or some French fries or something, and trying to make them feel at home.
Right.
They might be having a bad day, but I think that kind of crept in earlier on. But once you do it enough, I guess it's like, well, whatever.
Tomorrow's another show.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's another show.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Some places don't like country as much as they like blues.
Some places don't like blues at all. So
I think honestly, this is me personally, like something that I've kind of considered is like, I used to say that I don't really like country or like folk music or anything, but then like we had a band come in here, and I feel like you can't really knock it until you try it, type of thing.
Right.
Like once you hear it live, like hearing something live is like a totally different experience from just like hearing it on the radio. So that's definitely something, like, I think if someone gave you guys a chance, I think they would learn to like it. And also too, like what you guys said, like after you play and you go out in the crowd and like meet them, like that has a big influence on people. Like I've met my favorite bands, and like it's made me like them even more, even if I don't really like their newest album. So I think you guys are doing you guys are doing the right thing.
Well, thank you.
So,
We appreciate that.
Would you want to go ahead and play another song for us?
Sure.
Change the station.
Since we appreciate you so much.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Walk on, 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 walk on. I'm gonna keep on walking till I find my way back home. Well, I'm gonna keep on walking, you know, I appreciate a ride. I got the woman I love right here by my side. Walk on, walk on, walk on, walk on. I'm gonna keep on walking till I find my way back home. Walk on, 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 walk on. I'm gonna keep on walking till I find my way back home. Well, your mind gets worrying when your shoes are getting thin. You don't know where you're going, but you sure know where you've been. Walk on, walk on, walk on, walk on. I'm gonna keep on walking till I find my way back home. I see so many people happy, I can't get used to it. Maybe happiness ain't for me, I guess I'll walk on, walk on, walk on, walk on, I'll walk on.
Come on, walk.
I'm gonna keep on walking till I find my way back home. Yes, sir.
It looked
Sonny
like,
Terry, Brownie McGee.
oh, nice. It looked like you were about to walk right out of the studio. I heard your foot tapping, and I was like, yes, I'm digging it. I love it.
Thank you very much.
So, kind of another question is when you come up with your songs, like, how do you kind of go about that process? Like, I know I've talked to a bunch of different people, and it's kind of all different, but, like, how are you kind of, like, just out and about, like, in a grocery store, and you come up with lyrics, and you're like, oh, this is it? Or do you have to, like, be kind of, like, in a certain place or like a certain zone in order to do that?
To write, you mean? When
Yeah,
writing
to like
your own songs?
to come up with like lyrics and like maybe like different chords, stuff like that.
Well, you can't really force it.
Mm-hmm.
You can, like, I could sit down and write a jingle, and
If you had to.
my most efficient way of songwriting is improv. I'll sit and sing and start just about a feeling, and I'll hit record, and then I'll go back and I'll actually write my lyrics out. That's kind of how I.
Sometimes it just starts with a groove too, or something that you're messing around with, or maybe
a new instrument. Like when I
There
picked
you
up the banjo on my front porch, I started singing about all kinds of stuff that I didn't know I was gonna.
Then you started talking like this.
Well,
Goes along with the banjo.
Yes, exactly, huh?
it's fun, man. My neighbors.
Shape shifting.
It's fun.
I actually noticed that a little bit earlier. You sang a song a couple of songs ago, and your voice got very like deep, and it changed. And I was like, "Oh, all right, here we go. This is different."
Yeah,
So
I like doing that.
throws
going
people
real
off
well.
a little bit. Changing the station.
Well, that's it. We call it change the station.
Man, that's a good way to think about it. I like it. So, what do you like to write about, I guess? I know you said that, like, it kind of just comes to you and it's a little groove, but, like, is there anything you really like writing about or, like, a song that you're just like, man, this is just golden?
I know it sounds cliche. I like writing about love, and I like writing about memories of my brother, Adam. And I like to write about things that happen, maybe funny things, like that bear charging me. I like to write about when I was teaching English in Venezuela, to keep my English, because I was having to talk like this because I was teaching English, and so I would pronounce the vowels the same as they. It was ridiculous. I came back and all my friends were like, knock it off, Chris. You're back. And I'm
Did
like,
you
no,
sing
I
like
actually
that
had to
too?
I can. But no, it's what was the question again? No. To write songs when I was in Venezuela. So I was in a journal. I know.
No,
whatever.
it's fine. I was like, oh wait, I forgot to.
I was so to keep my English going, I would journal, and then I started writing the whole days out in poetry. And so that was like, well, I was like, wait a second, I could do that really kind of with anything. So anytime I sit and write, I try to write in poetry form, even if I never sing about it. But it's there, and material to draw from. So.
Just write about what you feel too, or things that, like you said, things that happen to you, or sometimes it's a strange saying or something that you hear and that strikes something in you, and then you figure something out or write something about that, So it comes from all different types of things.
Do you kind of have a mood sometimes? Because I think it was last week, we had a band member say, like, I can write music, but I like to write it better when I'm sad. Like, it's just more like emotion, I guess, more of like an emotional type of thing. I'm not sure if that's how other people feel.
I think that's.
Yeah.
I can definitely agree with that for sure.
Yeah, it's easy to. It's easier to write when you're emotional about something. That could be happy. That could be sad. That could be
Angry.
Absolutely. If you're just kind of not emotional, the song sucks.
That's true.
I don't know. Is that a bad word?
No, you can say that.
Honestly,
You're good.
If it's just like, yeah, man, the radio station and hanging out, fun. But if you're into it and emotional about it, like, you're gonna make the best song ever. And at least at the time, until you write the next best song ever. But
I think that's what sparks people's emotions as well, as if you're passionate about something or emotional.
Nice. Well, do you want to go ahead and play another song for us?
would you want to do Stir It Up?
Sure, you got it.
All right.
Stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Stir it up, little darling, stir it up. It's been a long, long time since I've got you on my mind. I got you here with me, and you're looking so fine. I say, let's stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Stir it up, little darling, let's stir it up.
when I'm thirsty. You wet my lips, and when I'm lonely, you come home, baby, and give me a kiss. I said, let's stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Stir it up, little darling, let's stir it up.
So I have one last question for you guys. If you could give advice to, say, like any musician just starting out or anyone that really wants to get involved in music, like what advice would you give?
You got to network. You got to network. You have to get outside of your house and go and see what other people are doing. Take some risks. You know, don't sit in your comfort zone. And, you know, if you, go out and see what's happening around you and go and make other musical connections and learn through that. And just keep at it. Nothing good comes overnight, you know. And that would be my advice.
Yeah, and mine's kind of, yours falls under the same thing that I'm going to say. Mine's a little more vague, but it's definitely invest in your passion. Invest in it. And that falls for anything.
Sure.
You know, don't be afraid to go buy yourself a voice lesson or maybe like a new guitar, or, you know, invest in that, because that will give back to you if you're really truly passionate about it. I'm not a painter. I'm not going to go out and buy paintbrushes, because I'm not going to use them. You know.
You guys have been listening to Northwest Sessions on KZLX LP Maryville and KNWT Channel 8, and I'm here with Chris Snyder and Mike Kimmel. And so we actually have a pretty big crew. Our audio side, we have Corey Finch, John Prokop, Phil Dunlap, and Taylor Crater. Thank God I remembered all their names. Yeah. And then my video crew is pretty small. We have Shane and Becca, and we're missing Marcy, but she's in our hearts. And we're going to have our last song for tonight. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as I did.
We did. Thank you.
Painting a picture with your words. You're teaching me some things that I didn't know. But I'd like to think I have all the answers. But it seems like sometimes I need to be told. Tapping inside is never easy, especially when you ain't ever been sure. Oh, like a boat that's lost inside of the ocean. You're the lighthouse, darling. You're calling me home. Never meant for my actions to ever make you cry. But when emotions are flowing and rolling over like an ever slowing tide, you know it's time to put aside all verbal weapons. In essence, we're not making sense. I realized the first time I laid eyes on you, I could be your man. The tapping inside is never easy, especially when you ain't ever been sure. Oh, like a boat that's lost inside of the ocean. Oh, you're the lighthouse, darling. You're calling me home. Picked up broken pieces of your heart off the ground. I'm looking for the mortal love would have afforded if I only heard the sounds coming out from deep within your soul, so innocent and true. Telling me my feelings ain't too revealing, and I'm soul hiding in my shoe. The tapping inside is never easy, especially when you ain't ever been sure. Whoa, like a boat that's lost inside of the ocean. You're the lighthouse, darling. You're calling me home.